Zdravstvutie. Zdravstvutie. Hey, that means hello in Russian, I think. Now then, we've got our old friend, Joseph Stalin, back again. Here I am in my Russian hat and my Stalin moustache. Can you see the similarity? Welcome, everyone. Vimeo number 3. Oh, I'll tell you what, it's quite hot in this hat. There, that's a bit better. Now, Vimeo number 3. If you remember, sorry, my moustache is falling off. Zdravstvutie. Hey. Vimeo number 2, we were looking at the Truman Plan and the Marshall Plan. Okay, the Truman Doctrine and the Marshall Plan. Hopefully you've remembered what they were. What impact did they have? What impact did American policy have on the leader of Russia, Prime Minister Joseph Stalin? Well, obviously he's not going to be very pleased if Europe moves completely to America. So what he decides to do is grow a ridiculous moustache. No, that's not true. He sets up a system which we can call satellite states. Now, what's he doing? What is a satellite state? Well, here's a definition for you. Officially, it's an independent country. But in reality, this independent country was actually controlled by another country. And as we shall see, many of the countries of Eastern Europe became satellite states from 1947 to 1949. Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, East Germany, Romania, Bulgaria, Albania, just to name a few. First question you need to ask yourselves, why does he do it? I'm stroking my moustache whilst I'm thinking of an answer. Why does Stalin want to control Eastern Europe? It's a reaction to the Marshall Plan. It's a reaction to Truman. Now, the Marshall Plan in particular, hopefully you remember what it was. Da, 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 da. Quick, get this flag away from Stalin before his moustache explodes. The Marshall Plan, $13 billion to rejuvenate and rebuild Europe. Stalin called this dollar imperialism. What did he mean by that? Any ideas? What he meant was, he thought that America was using its money to buy influence. Stalin didn't want this. So he said, at the conferences we had this system of spheres of influence. I'm going to take that a step further. I'm going to take my sphere of influence, which is Eastern Europe, and I'm going to take control of it, to reject or rebuff American influence. That's why he did it. Next question, how? How is Stalin going to do this? There are many ways. First of all, of course, he might want that country to choose the Communist Party. And some did. But what if they don't choose it? Well, Stalin could arrange some elections. Now, these elections could be free elections, but of course they're not free. And in the end, the Communist Party win and take control. Then, of course, there could be elections where there's just one party, the Communist Party. Stalin could use threats, fear, mistrust, the police to bully people, and he uses some of these tactics. Something quite clever that he does is he didn't allow these countries to become totally independent as regards the economy. No, indeed, he said you cannot be self-sufficient. For example, Hungary. I want you to build trucks. Poland, you build ships. But that means that they are relying on each other and also, of course, relying on the main country holding it together, USSR. Only Yugoslavia, led by a man called Tito, managed to gain any independence, really. So much so that Yugoslavia actually accepted some of the Marshall Aid from America. The rest of the countries all became satellite states controlled by the USSR. Europe was dividing into two camps, West versus East. So, halfway through, stay awake there at the back. Stay awake, you horrible boy. Well done. Now, 1947, Stalin sets up something called the ComInform. ComInform, based on information, political information. And what he wants basically is this new committee or group of people. They represent communist parties from all over Europe, of course under the direction of Mr. Moustache, Joseph Stalin. And he gets the countries to reject Marshall Aid. Sorry, a piece of moustache has gone into my mouth. Now, as they reject Marshall Aid, that is good for Stalin, because then he can control them. He even went as far as to try and get people in Western Europe, for example in France, communist supporters in France, to go on the streets and march and protest and say, no, we don't want Marshall Aid. It didn't work. So he's using ComInform to spread his influence. Another thing that he does with ComInform, the people who get promoted to the top jobs are all very loyal to Stalin. So he's reinforcing the power of USSR, he's reinforcing the power of himself. The satellite states, ComInform. Second thing, he introduces something called ComIcon. ComIcon. Now, this is a group aimed at economics, money, 1949. And basically, it was Stalin's response to Marshall Aid. If America is sending money to the West, Stalin is going to use the money available to USSR and his satellite states to try and link their economies together, work together for economic help together, to keep the benefits in Eastern Europe and not allow it to flow to the West. He wanted to exclude the West from the Eastern economy. That was his response to the American money of Marshall Aid. Now, it was not as effective because they didn't have as much money, but that was his response. So there we have Stalin, great Tash, setting up the satellite states. Hope it's been useful. Europe is now in two camps. What is going to happen next? Because there is a major development as we move into 1948 and 1949. Do you know what countries involved? Do you know what cities involved? If not, watch Vimeo number 4. Speak to you soon. Take care now.